Hey everybody, I'm Mama Baird. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you what I received from my local food bank this week. I do have a small announcement though. This will be my last food bank video for a little bit, just due to the government shutdown and people not going to be able to get their food stamps or SNAP benefits. And it seems like even the WIC program is going to be shut down for the time being. So with that many people losing money to be able to buy food for this upcoming month, November, I'm going to stop going to the food banks just as a courtesy of a fellow community member, because I don't rely on SNAP. However, I do rely on the food banks to help me with our groceries because we don't qualify for STAMP. But that being said, I still shop smart, get sales. I've stocked up on everyday essentials that I can. So I'm going to cut back and just let those who are in desperate need right now get there and be able to get food. So I want to make sure there's plenty for everybody, which is kind of why I am stepping back. I've always said if it gets to the point where the food banks are hit hard and there's no food or there's very limited, I will step back. I use it to help supplement my groceries, which is actually what the SNAP benefit is for. It's a supplement program, so you're not going to be able to feed your family on it for the whole month, but it is going to help you get some groceries, and that's what I use the food bank for. It helps me get groceries that I normally would not be able to get. It helps supplement with nutritious food that I'm not going to be able to afford for my family. But that being the case, I am going to step back and let those who need it to get there. So if you're one of those who are getting your SNAP benefits cut off, go to your local food bank. A lot of them are preparing for this. They're getting stocked up. They're asking for extra donations. They're looking for anything, volunteers. So food banks are about to get hit hard. So any way that you can help, contribute, or if you need to go, go. That's what they're there for. I just wanted to give a quick PSA about that. That being said, let's get in here and I'm going to show you what I received from mine this week. If you're new to the channel, my name is Carolina. I live in Montana. If you could give this video a like, hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed, press the notification bell. It'll let you know every time I post a new video. And if you don't mind to leave me a comment, even a heart, it really goes a long way. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to show you what I received for mine and then a couple of ideas of what I'm going to make with it. So let's get over here. All right, so as a family of 5, I was able to pick out 4 meat choices. So I did 2 chickens, and they were 2 of these really big chicken breasts in a Ziploc bag. So I got 4 giant chicken breasts. So that's going to be very helpful. And then I got 2 things of sausage. So they gave me breakfast pork sausage, which is awesome. That's my favorite kind of sausage, or chorizo. I love chorizo. So those are the 4 meats that I got. And then I usually tell them no eggs. I try and they ask me and I'll say no eggs. I have 12 chickens, so we don't really need eggs. But they didn't ask me and I forgot to mention, and they just threw them in. So I did get a dozen eggs, and these look like they're farm fresh. So we have a lot of people around here who have chickens who donate eggs to the food bank. So I did get a dozen eggs. And then I also got a ½ gallon of milk. And then they had a thing of sour cream, or I could have picked cottage cheese. I like sour cream, so I got that. And then they have potato salad. They also had a big thing of macaroni salad, so we all like potato salad, so I picked that. So that's kind of the cold items that I got. And then I was able to get this giant squash. I think I'm going to cut this in half and roast it, so that way we can make maybe some squash soup or something. Butternut squash soup is really good, so I'm sure this is as well. And then 1 pack of spaghetti. I got 1 pound of peanut butter. I got a container here of light salt, less sodium, but this will be good for like salting pasta water. And then I got 4 cans of cream of mushroom soup. You have a choice between chicken noodle, vegetable, tomato, and cream of mushroom. I use cream of mushroom a lot in my cooking, so that's why I just went ahead and got 4 of those. And then they gave me 3 little fruit things, 1 for each kid. I got to pick out some kind of specialty item, and they had this Mississippi comeback sauce. Chili sharpness and savory spices designed for salads, tenders, and hush puppies. But I saw a recipe where people use this to cook in their crock pot. Like I saw one where you use the Buffalo Wild Wings garlic parmesan sauce as a sauce to cook it in. So I think I'm going to do that with my chicken. And we're going to throw this bottle and these 4 chicken breasts in a crock pot and get that cooked. is my plan with this. And then I was able to get 5 packs of ramen noodles. And then they had a sweet treat you could pick out, but they had these chips on there. And I was like, could I get the chips instead? And they said, yeah. So I was able to get some of these tortilla strips. Good for just eating or for making nachos. I love nachos. They gave me 3 things of mac and cheese, a SpongeBob one, a regular one, and then Annie's white shell mac and cheese. So those, since they're all different, I usually, if I cook mac and cheese as like a main meal, I'll do 2 boxes for my 3 kids. But since these are all different, these would make good sides where you just do a side of mac and cheese, and then you have like your chicken and a vegetable or something, and then mac and cheese as a side. So that's what I'm gonna do with the ones that are a little different noodles. I got 1 thing of pancake mix, 2 cereals. So I got Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Apple Jacks. They were also giving out oil this month, so I would got 1 thing of vegetable oil, pancake syrup, and then they give you out a few staples. I got a bag of coffee. This is flour and this is sugar, so this is all really helpful. 4 cans of fruit, 2 cans of pears already diced up, mixed veggie, and then an applesauce. And then I also got a apple juice. We got 1 loaf of wheat bread. And then they had cat and dog food. Sometimes they have it, sometimes they don't. It looks like the Bitterroot Humane Society donated food, so that's really nice that they always make sure that they have food donated to the food banks, including ones for your pets. So we have a thing of cat food and then a thing of dog food as well. This one, it says you can mix it with water and make it kind of like a gravy mix, so that's kind of cool. And then I got some veggies here, just your classics. I got 1 leek. I got 3 carrots, an onion, a turnip, a bunch of these potatoes, these cool little potatoes, and a clove of garlic. So, this is all I received from my So this is everything I received from my food bank this week. Now this is the one that they pick and choose for you on some of the canned goods. They also have a list, and I scratched out a lot of stuff that I didn't need, like beans. I didn't need any tomato products. I didn't need any rice. I didn't need canned chicken or tuna. So that's stuff that when I go to the food bank, I don't take that stuff because I have it stocked on that. This is, the food bank helps me get items that I normally would not be able to get or that I usually buy, and now I don't have to buy sour cream this week because I was able to get it from the food bank. So that's how I utilize the food bank. I know everybody's different. I know a lot of people will disagree with that and say it's only for those who are starving and have no food in their cupboards. But if I say that you can't afford to stock up on food, you're only buying enough to feed you for what you need that week, then you need to go to the food bank. If you don't have at least a month's supply of food in your house, you need to go to the food bank. Like, you need to make sure that you are stocked up for any kind of emergency. Well, now that you saw what I received, I'm going to do some cooking. So let me get this all put away and I'll bring you back and I'll show you what we'll be cooking today. First thing I'm gonna get going is this here chicken. Putting it in there frozen. These are huge. All right, I want to make sure I can get the lid on. All right, we got the 4 chicken breasts in there. I am going to put in some of my garlic here. It's garlic confit, I guess is technically what it is, but it's just like garlic oil, and then all the garlic is at the bottom. So anyway, some yummy garlic we're putting in there. And then this Duke's Southern sauce. Let's give it a try. I mean, it's okay. It's just like a mayonnaise, I guess. I'm gonna use it all. Little weird, but one thing I like to add to all my meats is some vinegar. It really helps make them tender. So I'm gonna add maybe a tablespoon. This is apple cider. To my bottle I just used, we'll add a tablespoon to it. Shake it just like you would water, you know, to clean your bottle. But that way we put our vinegar in there instead of the water. Alrighty, and this was how big was this? 14 fluid ounces. Alright, that's what it looks like. Let's put a lid on it. I'm gonna put it on low. It's 10 o'clock, so it should be done by, you know, 5 o'clock, I would say. All right, so we got our chicken going. All right, everybody, let's make this pear coffee cake. I'm gonna start off with 1 cup of butter. I only had 1 stick thawed, so I pulled some out, weighed it, and then microwaved it for a little bit. All right, to this 1 cup of butter, we are adding 2/3 cup of our white sugar here. And then we are going to mix it together for about 3 minutes. All right, it's been 3 minutes. Look how nice and fluffy it is. That's what we're going for. And now to this, we are going to add 2 eggs. So let's add 2 of our eggs here. Now, anytime I do farm fresh eggs, I always like to crack in a separate container just in case. Okay, 2 eggs. Well, I cannot get my vanilla open right now, so I'm gonna add my powdered vanilla. I really like this. I'm gonna put about 2 teaspoons. This is an equal amount of powder to liquid. And that'll add some nice flakes throughout it. All right, let's give this sour cream a mix. I did have this kind of come up to room temperature, just so it's easier to mix. Sorry if you hear the kids in the background, they're playing Battleship. It's a very intense game. All right, 1. All right, that was 1.5 cups, which is about half of that container. All right, eggs, vanilla, and sour cream. Let's give it a mix. Okay, I think I'm done with this because I'm just gonna mix the rest by hand. That looks great, yeah? Love the specks of vanilla in there. All right, now let's put our flour in there. I'm gonna go ahead and sift it in there. I've been doing that lately. It kind of gives it a little bit of a fluffier finish. Plus, to make sure you get any particles out. So we're gonna do 2 cups, which is about half that bag. So they give you 4 cups, which is nice. Oh yeah, no debris in there. Nice. All right, next we got baking powder. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. And then we're gonna use our salt. Half a teaspoon as well. And then we're gonna add some cinnamon in here as well. Because cinnamon would go well with pears. This also worked good as this is originally an apple cake recipe. Oh yeah, look at that. Alright, there we go. All mixed up. Nice thick batter. Alright, let's put this aside for a second. Alright, next we're going to put together our topping. That's going to actually go in the middle and then also on the top. So we're going to do about a cup of walnuts. Alright, and then we're just going to rough chop these. This technically called for pecans, but I got walnuts. Any kind of nut's good. Make it nutty. Add some extra nutrients because nuts are really good. And nuts are something that, I don't know about you guys, but I get these a lot at the food bank. Nuts and dried fruit. The accumulation of nuts can build up fast, so here's a good way to get them used up. Especially if you don't have any allergies or anything, nuts are really good for you. Alright, there's our nuts. Oh, nuts. And then we are going to add cinnamon to this.
2 eggs.
Add a teaspoon. And then half a cup of brown sugar. Make sure you get it mixed up really good. And I'm gonna drain the pear juice. Pretty good chunks. Okay, now this isn't a part of the recipe, but this is only half a cup, a little under half a cup of juice, so I'm gonna add it to the cake because I thought it was a little thick anyway. And then that's about a cup of fruit, and that's what kind of helped make the cake a little pear flavored as well. All right, now let's assemble. I'm going to be using my mini loaf pan, but this originally goes into an 8x8. Just spray really good. We're going to be doing layers on this, so you want to make sure that they're pretty even. I'm going to do 2 scoops on the bottom, and then we are going to put our topping in the middle. Now we're going to put some of this topping in the middle here. Don't be bashful. Alright, and then we're going to put a layer of our pears. So we use the whole can. Alright, and then more batter on top.
A few moments later.
Alright, and then more topping on top.
But not on the 6.
Alright, there we go. Those look great. We are going to put this in the oven. I'm going to do 25 minutes and then we'll check it. It might take up to 40 minutes. Hey everybody, it is the next day. I'm sorry I did not have the energy to film last night. So I just wanted to show you how everything turned out. This is the chicken. It is a little oily here on the bottom from the sauce separating. This is everything from it. I did not drain it or anything. I just used a spoon actually to kind of mix the chicken and stir it in with everything in there. I think when I go to use this, I'm going to put it in a colander or a strainer and get a lot of this juice out. But it tastes really good. I did add some salt and some of my house seasoning to it to give it a little more flavor, and it turned out great. So this was the 4 chicken breasts. It got me, you know, half a gallon of meat. This is probably 6 cups worth, so quite a bit. We're going to be doing some of that. One thing I was planning on making was chicken spaghetti. I do love a good chicken spaghetti. And then our coffee cake didn't really turn out the best. It looks like it may have had too much butter in it because of this sides, maybe too much sugar. I don't know, what do you guys think when it turns out like that? However, it is cooked though. I probably could have baked it a little longer because it did sink. But it turned out, I mean, and it tastes really good. Here's the inside of it. You can see the pears there and the topping. So maybe bake it a little longer. What do you think? But it tastes really good. And maybe don't add the juice from the pears next time. That could have been the too much sugar part. It's because I added that syrup. So not pretty enough to give away, but good enough to eat. Now for the last thing I'm going to have in this video, I'm going to make myself some breakfast nachos. So we are going to cook up some of this breakfast sausage. We got our tortilla strips here. I have our eggs I have some cheese. And then I'm going to grab some milk. I'm just going to make like a white gravy for our sauce. You could add cheese to it and make it a cheese sauce, but I think gravy will go good for breakfast. So the first thing we're going to do, get this on, and we're going to cook our sausage. This is from a local butcher too, Bar MW Meats in Corvallis. So they donate some to the food bank. Also, a lot of times it's hunting season right now, and there's guys who hunt, but they don't necessarily need the meat, so they will get it processed and then donate all that meat to the food bank. So there'll be a lot of like venison and elk at the food bank too, which is awesome to do, so you can still enjoy the sport of it without having to waste the meat, you know? This is beautiful looking sausage too. So the good thing about cooking a lot at a time is that I'll have some pre-cooked, so that way I can like throw together some breakfast burritos. Or I actually saw for one of the future videos I have, I'm thinking about doing like cinnamon rolls, but not just like obviously regular cinnamon rolls, but then to do different kinds. And I saw one that's a breakfast where you use bread, you roll it out, and then you put cheese, bacon, sausage, whichever, eggs, and then you roll it like you would a cinnamon roll, slice it, proof it, bake it, and then serve it with gravy. So it's like a breakfast roll. You know, I'm going to be calling everything cinnamon, but they're not all going to have cinnamon. So I think, what should I just call it? Different rolls or something. But you would use cooked sausage in there. So this would be something that, you know, you can have pre-done and just in the fridge. Makes for easy breakfasts. Is pretty much what I'm saying. So we're going to bring this to a nice cooked crumbly form, and then we will cook our eggs. So I'll bring you back when that is done. Alright everybody, look at that. It's getting some nice crispy caramelization color to it. Like you want it to get that nice kind of sear in there, you see. Alright, well, that is finishing. Let's crack some eggs. Alright, we're going to do 6 eggs. I'm going to add a splash of water to it. I'm going to call this good. Go ahead and put this in container here. Alright. Alright, give the eggs a quick scramble. I'm out of my bacon grease actually. Here's my butter. Alright, put in a little bit of butter here. Add some salt. Pepper. And then we're just gonna pull it around. Trying to scrape the bottom. Hopefully the eggs don't stick. Looks like they will. Alright, eggs are done. Let's turn it off for now. Just gonna put it in here with the sausage. Or on the stove, wherever it lands first. But yeah, that one's gonna need some soaking. Luckily for me, I have another pot. Unlucky for my dishwasher. Alright. Alright guys, I'm going to use one of the kids' shelf-stable organic milk here. Doesn't matter what they say, it has a different taste. I'm sorry. So, the kids don't drink it as much. Conrad will, but the other two won't. So we're going to use it to make our gravy. We're going to do about a tablespoon of butter. Alright, and same thing, about a tablespoon of flour in there with the butter. Gonna let that cook for about a minute. Let that flour cook a bit. Alright, look at it. You see how bubbly that is? Perfect. So now let's add our milk. Alright, and then you just want to keep whisking. Now we're waiting on that gravy. Let's set up our chips. It's bubbling now, and as it starts spoiling, it thickens. That's perfect. Let's give it a taste, make sure it has enough seasoning. Just a little more salt. Alright, let's do this. Add the gravy. Gravy is also something that keeps really well. You can freeze it, or you can just keep it in a container and then reheat it. Made kind of like a single portion. Alright, some eggs on here. sausage. And now our cheese. And you could put this in under the broiler. I'm going to throw this in the microwave for 1 minute to melt that cheese, and then it's good to go. Here we are, some delicious sausage, egg, and cheese breakfast nachos with gravy. Look at that. All right, this has got to go on a menu somewhere. I've created worse things, that's for sure. Oh my gosh, you guys. You have got to give this a try. Now, would you have just done white gravy like me, or would you have turned that into a cheese sauce? Well, everybody, if you made it this far in the video, please give me a purple heart in the comments down below. Once again, I am going to be taking a break from food banks this month, maybe more, but don't worry, I'm still going to be having lots of good content coming out. I want some ideas on what you guys would like to know how to cook more, so I can do maybe food bank featured items, something that you would get a lot of, and kind of show you some ways you can use it. I'm also going to be going through my pantry and doing lots of, oh no, but it's expired, but we can still use it videos, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for coming along and seeing what I received at my local food bank and how I used it to feed my family. If you are going to be needing some food, please make sure you look up your local food bank. I do have some resources listed down below if you need a place to start. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time on Mama Bears.